I thank agricultureinformation.com. Thank you so much for inviting me to this to speak in front of the August crowd. Thank you once again for inviting me from the agricultureinformation.com and all the prestigious members of the community. I am privileged to talk in front of them. So my name is Narayanan Alwar. I am working in Pune, but I own a farm in Tirunelveli district, Tamil Nadu, and I've been running an organic farm for the past 12 years. So effectively, I've done a lot of experiments, and since it's an organic farm, I was strictly not using any chemicals. So therefore, I have to find innovative methods and ways in which I can do the irrigation, I can do the manure, I can produce and then sell, and so on and so forth. So in the process of doing that, over a period of years, I have found out certain techniques of doing your manure yourself and then growing the farm, which is what I want to share here. So this format of my presentation will be very informal and not so structured because I want to give a free flow to my thoughts as well as I would invite you to kindly participate in the thought process and then reserve the questions for the end of the session, if any. So one of the reasons why I chose to do yourself the manure is because through experience, what I have found out is that even if you actually buy a tractor full of manure and then you have to store it somewhere in the farm, over a period of time, it gets dissipated before it is getting distributed to the plants. So there is a lot of cost wastage happens, cost involved in procuring it and then transporting it and then storing it and then dispersing it within the farm. In organic farm, as you know, there won't be any monocrop. There will be multiple crops. At least in my farm, I have several species of crops. So there are mangoes, there are guava, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it is a dispersed species varieties, and then I have to apply the manure equally or separately. And given the labor and other costs, it's going to be very costly for me to procure in bulk and then distribute it. So that is one aspect of that. The second aspect of that is the time. When to apply that and when to not to apply that. Suppose you procure some manure and then keep it without applying it, then the manure itself degrades, right? So the right time it has to be applied. And in the district where I am doing the farming, which is Tirunelveli district, it's a rain shadow region. There won't be any rains at all for several months. So there will be huge sunshine will be there. And in the sunshine, the manure that you have purchased will not become fresh. It will become stale. So therefore, it will lose its power. So that is another aspect of that. And the third aspect of that is the logistics. The transport cost is very huge because we are in a remote village and a remote farm will be in a remote place. Transporting cost will be more than the manure cost. So therefore, that is also one reason. So all these reasons made me think I had invested in the past in procuring these kind of manures, or organic manures, but later on I felt that that is actually draining my resources because I am doing farming with a very less input cost. So therefore, I started developing my own methods of doing it. So one of the immediate discovery that I made is that you have to actually try to go for liquid based manure, not the solid ones. Solid ones are the cow dung and the earthworm kind of manures, and liquid ones are the panchakavya kind of things. Liquid ones are more easier to prepare and then transport and as well as apply to the roots of the plants. Solid ones are not so. Solid ones need to be, it requires a lot of labor as well as to apply, and then after that, there is no guarantee that it will spread properly to the plant which is intended for that or not. So I would actually recommend liquid based kind of a manure more than the solid ones. More so also because if it is a matured trees and all, then solid manure may slowly work on that. But if it's a growing farm and there are plants which are actually growing, then liquid manure is absorbed very fast. One or two types of manure only I am actually preparing myself and then applying because they're very effective. So one is the fish amino acid. Okay. So how to prepare a fish amino acid? So initially what I did is that I went to the market and then purchased this discarded fish from the villages which are near the seashore, and then brought it in bulk. But that was a huge mistake. The discarded fish parts contained huge amount of salt, and somebody suggested that salt also has to be applied directly on the roots of the coconut trees and all. So we made a big mistake of procuring the fish which is soaked in salt and as well as applying salt. So finally, we prepared amino acid as per prescription, but it didn't work out very well. Then later on, we learned that we should not use fish which is preserved in the salt, but rather we have to buy fresh fish, not the discarded parts. So fresh again, you don't have to actually buy eatable kind of a fish. What we are here saying is that you have to buy the parts or the discarded parts of the fresh fish, which is the parts which are discarded by the regular fish vendor in the fresh fish market. So that is what is working out very well. Salt should not be applied. The second, so I will just say a few words about this fish itself before we move on. So one is that the fish parts have to be put in a container and then we apply jaggery to that, right? And then water and then keep it soaked for about 21 or even 40 days also, till the time that is actually germinated and then digested, and then you get a good smell, and then after that the water is used. Fish amino acid also is sold available outside by some vendors. So one of the vendor is there in Pollachi, from where we also buy sometimes. So 10 liters or 20 liters of can. The problem of buying fish amino acid from outside vendor and then transporting is that no, during the transportation stage also, the amino acid will be emanating some gases. So if you are coming in the public bus or otherwise, you can you will be getting the smell of the fish, and then the passengers, co-passengers, or the driver, or conductor may not be willing to take you in. So that's one kind of a problem. But otherwise, once the amino acid is brought into the farm and then mixed with water, and you can do the spray of this amino acid on the leaves as well as the roots, it's become very, very effective both for growth as well as flowering as well as pest control. The other thing is that Panchagavya. Panchagavya is that we are not using all the Pancha items. Only we are using cow dung and jaggery. Jaggery also good quality jaggery, but discarded jaggery which is there sold in the stores, mom and pop stores, that is purchased. And as far as the cow dung is concerned, one of my staff members have owns a cow. She brings the cow in the morning and then she takes the cow in the evening when she goes home. So all the throughout the day the cow is tied in my farm, and it will be supplied with the grass and other items. So the cow dung is fresh. So what I'm trying to say is that as much as possible, try to get the fresh cow dung. If the cow is not there, then at least the cows which are grazing around the fields, you can just go and get that cow dung and then use it. If that is also not there, then you can buy the cow dung from a nearby farm. But the thing is, it has to be fresh. So that is the main criteria. The idea is that the cow dung contains harmless bacteria. That is a bacteria which can digest long carbon fibers. And when cow dung is dissolved in water, and then if jaggery is added, jaggery contains a very long hydrocarbons. So these hydrocarbons are acted upon by the bacteria which is there in the cow dung, and they split that into glucose, fructose, and lactose and water, and that is more useful for the plant growth. So that's how the decomposition happens. That is the reason why always cow dung and jaggery with a medium of water is used for preparing the panchagavya. Though you can add milk and ghee and other items, but I wouldn't recommend that because it's costly and it is not sustainable. So I also would like to pay some tribute to Subhash Balekar, though I have not met him or not read him. of Maharashtra who used to advocate the Panchagavya, which is prepared out of cow dung and fresh cow dung and jaggery. So that is the same method, and that is effectively used in my farm. So to prepare the cow dung, I think Panchagavya is a very basic elements I'm using, as you can see in this picture. This jaggery and sometimes some ghee, small packet of ghee is enough, and the rest is the cow dung. And they are all put into a plastic drum. This is actually a water tanker we were using, and it developed some leakages. Then we started using that for preparing or mixing the Panchagavya. So Panchagavya, for preparing it, you fill it with water, then dissolve the cow dung in that, and then put the jaggery, and then keep mixing it for about 10 to 15 days. So actually, the prescription they are talking about is about 3 days or 4 days. But what we have seen practically is that you have to keep as many days as possible, like 10 to 15 days. Then you get a frothing kind of effect coming out of that, and after that, that water is very, very potent in microorganisms which are effective to fix the nitrogen from the air. So I believe that the nitrogen is required to grow the plant, need not have to come from any salt or any other places. There is enough nitrogen available in the atmosphere. As you know, 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. So therefore, the soil nitrogen fixing bacteria will do the job of fixing the nitrogen effectively. So all that we have to do is to create a medium for them to do its job. So that is what is being done in this drum. So what our staff does is that once the Panchagavya is ready, about 10 to 15 days, which you can identify through the smell and other things, then they put a bucket inside and then pick up the water, then filter it and then start applying it. And the residue portion, the solid portion, can be expelled from the bottom, where we have kept a bigger size tap and a valve there. And once the Panchagavya is extracted, then it is taken in buckets and then applied manually to the roots of the plants. And occasionally we can also do that through a spray. Also we can put it on the leaves. More so not because of the manure effect, but because Panchagavya also will keep away the pests which away from eating the leaves. So this is another reason. You can also add a spoon or two of turmeric powder to the Panchagavya, as the case may be. And the third one is that while applying the manure, organically prepared manure, there is a pest control also need to be done, and for which also we can prepare organic solutions. Like for example, we prepare using neem oil and a little bit of tobacco, and then mirchi and other bitter leaves, whichever bitter leaves are there available in the farm. So they're all put into water. Maybe you can little bit grind it and put it, or otherwise also, and then soak it in the water in about a week or so. And that water can be used to spray onto the coconut trees and all. Because coconut trees generally develop large size pests which will eat away the coconut tender coconut straws. So there it is very effective. And then the other thing is that while naturally controlling the pest, there is absolutely no way you can poison the insects, right? You have to drive away the insects. So one of the ways in which we do is by spraying in using a water jet, that you can do it. The other one is that, and the very strange one is that you do nothing. What happens is that if you actually create a conducive environment, once the pest comes, then the other insects also, birds and animals also come to eat that pest. So all you have to do is just wait. Maybe 1 or 2 times you will loss in the initial, but after that there's a symbiotic relationship which gets established in the garden, and there's a food chain gets established, and the pest automatically come under control. So that is also we have seen that. Only one thing we were unable to do is to control is a kind of a rat which is there residing in the coconut trees, and then they eat the shoots of the coconut. So for that also, we were actually trying to use the organically prepared compounds, but to not to much extent. But however, they were controlled automatically by the predatory birds which are visiting both day and night. One advice in do-it-yourself organic manure is to use only essential items. Say, for example, if it is Panchagavya, use only the cotton and the jaggery or cane sugar. And if it is fish oil that you have to prepare, then just use fish and jaggery. Uh, as it is written or it is being widely prescribed, adding bananas and adding ghee, adding tender coconut water, adding milk, adding curd, all these are optional items. There is no need or no necessity to add them because they are costly and is not sustainable. Once in a while, maybe if you want to prepare a thicker uh, 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 thicker variety of, let's say, the Panchakavya, you can use them and then prepare it. Suppose in case there is a plant which is very sick and then you need to give a nutrient quickly and then get it up to shape, maybe that time you can spend some money. But otherwise, for a general upkeep and maintenance of the farm as well as to promote the growth of hundreds of trees, then the adding more and more ingredients only will actually incur cost and will not be giving the results. So this is all what I wanted to share with you. Though it was a very short presentation, I wanted to actually share my experience in the farm. After experimenting a lot of things, finally I came to the conclusion that the solution to the problems are always simple. So simple that anybody will be able to do it. And if it is not simple, it will not be sustainable. So that is the one thing. And second thing is that any manure that you need to prepare, you don't have to go very far away. Any ingredients that you want to add should be available in the local market. And the third one is, and a very important one, when I was touching the topic of bacteria, right? Growth promoting bacteria, I was mentioning that the objective of Panchagavya is to multiply the bacteria which is there in the cow dung, right? And as a food for that, we are giving jaggery. I would like to add this point, and it's very important that you can also add some soil to the Panchagavya while preparing the Panchagavya. The reason is that the soil contains the native bacteria, the bacteria which is essential, which has been growing in that farm for a very number of years, which is actually native to that soil. Now, by adding some soil to the Panchagavya solution, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to replenish that bacteria or grow that bacteria in that solution, and then again apply it back to the field. So, in this manner, the bacteria which is already available in your farm will be more stronger and more symbiotic with that particular atmosphere, and it will be more beneficial than a bacteria which is being brought from outside. So that is the one aspect I wanted to share with you all. So this is about it. Anybody have any questions?
Okay. Yeah, completed, Mr. Narayan.
Yeah, that's
Hello?
right. I mean,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'll now take up some questions. So is it possible for you to switch on the video?
Yeah, I will.
Video. Yeah. So the first question is, what are the best easily available materials for making DIY manure at home?
One second, please. I would like to switch on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
am I visible?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, okay, thank you. So I'll repeat the question. What are the best easily available materials for making DIY manure at home?
Okay. So at home, the scenario is slightly different because at home generally cow dung is not available, right? Uh, unless you are in a rural area, you will not be able to get the cow dung. Or if you get a cow dung, it will be very dry condition. It won't be wet. And it's very important for a good manure to be prepared. You have to have a wet or a fresh cow dung, which is impossible to get it in home. So home manure for home gardens or balcony gardens, the most effective one is to prepare manure out of the vegetable waste, which we discard from the kitchen. So what we do is that we put the vegetable waste into a pot, a porous pot with hole in the bottom, and uh, then allow it to rot. So there you can apply some jaggery also to that pot of uh, vegetable waste, right? And in case if it is possible, you get it, then you can actually mix some cow dung also. And then also, if it is possible, uh, some ash which is obtained from either the oven or any other place can also be applied. So this way, a layers of small pieces of vegetables plus a mixture of these ash and mud, little bit of mud also, and the whatever ingredients you want to add is decomposable in nature can be added and left in the pot for some time. So initially it will give a very bad smell, and after that automatically it will become start emitting a very good smell. And once it becomes digested, then you can start using it in the balcony.
Next question is,
Earthworms are already earthworms will be automatically coming in the balcony pots because some of them come from the nursery itself, right? And those earthworms can be carefully taken and put into the pot also because the earthworms will eat the fresh vegetable waste and then decompose it and then make it into a manure.
okay. Next question, can we use kitchen waste directly for manure or should it be composted first?
No, we cannot use kitchen waste directly because what happens here is that why we use pot and then put the kitchen waste into the pot with a little bit of mud and as well as ash and this earthworm uh, is because the kitchen waste when it is decomposing it will emit heat and as well as it will emit gases which are all harmful for the plants. So once it is digested, then it becomes manure and then it emits a very good smell. Then only you can start using putting it into the pots. So before that, the kitchen waste is not not to be applied directly on the pots. It has to be digested in a pit in a pot.
Okay. Next question. How can cow dung and urine be effectively used in DIY manure?
Yes. See, cow dung and cow urine both have the same effect. Basically, what we are trying to do, what we are here saying is that the cow eat grass, right? And the grass is a very long hydrocarbon. That hydrocarbon is digested in the stomach of the cow, not by the bile juices, but by the bacteria which is there in the cow. The cow actually eats the vegetation, not only cow, but any animal eats that herbivorous animal eat the vegetation, and then rest of the digestion is happening in the stomach of the cow by the bacteria which are present in the stomach of the cow. Okay, so if the cow dung, a fresh cow dung, this bacteria, some of the bacteria also escape, and that is exactly what we are trying to capture and then make use of in preparing the punchak. So that is the concept. So what was the question? I'm sorry, I forgot.
I'll repeat 1 second. How can cow dung and urine be effectively used in DIY manure?
Yes, it can definitely be
Yeah.
used, but as I told, it has to be a fresh cow dung.
Okay.
Because
Next
in some of
question.
the in urban areas they sell cow dung cakes, right,
Right.
for use in the oven or heaven. So that is not going to be giving any effect at all. You have to go
Yeah.
to the nearby goshala and get a bucket of cow dung.
Right. Okay. And how can we ensure our homemade manure has the right nutrient balance?
Okay, so in such type of instances, I would not. I would always recommend or advocate using your own senses. So in this case, a good manure will be in a granular form for touching. It will give a very good sweet smell. A soil smell will be there. So that is the correct consistency to know whether the manure is prepared properly or not. There is no other instrument or anything which is required to do know that. A properly created manure will smell very, very, very sweetly, and it will give a soil smell. So you can till the time you have to digest in the pot, and after that only you have to use it.
Okay. And how long does sorry, how long should the DIY manure be fermented or cured before use?
Yeah. So our experience is about 10 to 15 days it will take for it to get prepared
Okay.
in a
And
pot, in a closed pot.
okay. And how do we know if the manure is ready for application?
So that is the same thing. I mean, by experience only you'll come to know, because you open the pot and then see and then smell it, then you will come to know for that. If it's a rotten smell, that means it is still not formed properly. If it is it's giving a rotten smell, then you have to add some soil on top of that and then leave it like that. And it's very important that the heat gets contained within the container, because it's important in the peak of that heat only that it will get converted to manure. The bacteria will thrive and then convert that into a manure. Plus, adding earthworms also will definitely be beneficial.
Okay.
So, if you want to know, if you want to get the earthworms, what you do is that you have to wet some cloth or a gunny bag, a wet gunny bag, which is put on the floor of the garden or the pot, and 1 or 2 days later, automatically the earthworms will get collected under that gunny bag. Then you can take it out by hand. You have to use your fingers to take the earthworm because they are very delicate. Otherwise, they will get cut if you are using garden tools. You have to use your fingers to shift the earthworms from pot into your manure heap.
Okay. And next question. How frequently should DIY manure be applied to crops?
So too much of manure also is it is not what you say, it will be waste, I think, because it's like, person cannot eat fruits also, right? The extra mineral will be not absorbed by the blood, it will go away in the urine. Similar manner, if too much of uh, manure is applied to the plant also, it is not going to be absorbed by the plant. It will just get dissolved and then go away in the water. So therefore, there should be a right amount of manure, which you have to know through experience. So if it is a small plant, you have to apply a little bit and then it will be apply extra quantity, but not much. That time, uh, get a manure from outside and then we empty the packet completely into the pot. We have to add it little by little. Every day when we water, before that we have to add it little by little so that it will also absorb.
Okay. Next question is, is DIY manure effective for all types of soil and crops?
Okay, not exactly. Yes, the answer is yes. The manure, any plant is required. It is any species, coconut plant, sapota, or mango. Every plant
Hello.
requires only 3 or 4 kind of ingredients.
Hello.
Right? So nitrogen is required, phosphorus is required, magnesium is required, calcium is required. So
Mr. Narayan,
all can be obtained in the right.
there's a voice break. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
is the voice
Can you
now?
repeat? Yeah, no, no, fine. Can you repeat the answer?
So what? Yeah. So what I'm saying is that any kind of whether it is mango plant or a coconut, guava, sapota, or even jasmine, anything requires the same kind of ingredients only. Maybe a little extra here and there, but otherwise calcium, magnesium, nitrogen, phosphorus, all are required. So it is very humanly impossible for us to know which manure is having more of item and all. So we have to take a holistic view and prepare the manure in a holistic manner and then provide it. It's up to the plant to absorb what it wants and then discard what it doesn't want. So there is no prescription that we can give as far as the organic manure is concerned as to this is how it should be like that. In chemical farming, they actually target using a particular kind of chemicals for a particular growth. For example, if it is magnesium, they actually give magnesium peroxide. But in organic farm, we don't do that. We give the entire wholesome meals to the plants, and it's up to the plant to absorb what it wants.
Okay. And next question is yeah, is DIY manure effective for all types of soil and crops?
Yes, it is effective for all types of crops.
Okay, okay, okay. And
But
can this,
however, some of the crops may not require manure, which is applied by us. Some of the crops actually absorb from the atmosphere, right? And some of the crops definitely require manure to be applied to the roots. So if the roots are fibrous and then it is asking for nutrients, then we have to apply for that. If there are no roots at all and the leaves are there more and bigger in size, obviously it is not depending on you. It is depending on itself to absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere.
okay. So next question is, one second. What are the common mistakes farmers make while preparing DIY manure?
What are the common?
Mistakes farmers make while preparing DIY manure.
Okay, so what happens is that see everything requires shraddha, that is patience, right? So say for example, if I am preparing amino acid, fish amino acid, then a fish amino acid gets cooked in 21 days or 30 days. And before that itself, if I'm in a hurry to open the can and then see at 10th day or 12th day, what I'm trying to do is I am actually spoiling that reaction. The gases will get escaped and then it will not properly digest. So it is like, for example, if we are buying a raw mango at home and then keeping it inside the rice vessel, or we pack it in the newspaper and then keep it so that the heat gets generated. Normally, we buy papaya and then wrap it in the newspaper and then keep it for 1 or 2 days so that it gets ripened. Similarly, mangoes are put in the where the rice is kept. But before it gets ripe, we open that and see whether it is ripe or not. Then actually what we are doing is we are spoiling the entire chain reaction. After that, it will not ripe properly, right? Similarly, when it is banana, when we are going to ripe the banana is emitting a kind of a gas which will ripen the neighboring banana. If one banana is ripening, the next neighbor also will start ripening, provided the gas is circulating within that container. If you open the container, then the gas will escape and then the ripening process will stop. Same thing applies to the manure also. So when the manure is getting digested inside a pot in do it yourself at home manure preparation, we should not keep opening the pot and then seeing how far it has come. We have to believe and then leave it for 10 days or 1 week. Even if it is a mistake, just leave it like that for 1 week. And then after that, you see to what condition it has come. Because if you keep on opening, the heat will reduce and then fungus will start forming. Heat is required to destroy the fungus and then increase the beneficial bacteria. So we should not open the pot and see. That is a common mistake. The second thing is that the right amount of water should be there. Like you have to spray the water and then leave it little wet, because water is a very good media for the microorganisms to grow or proliferate. In the absence of water, it's very dry. Then the mechanism will not work properly. So therefore, even in manure preparation in the pot also, there should be a right amount of moisture which should be there. If it is a very hot climate and then the moisture, I mean, the water is getting evaporated and everything is becoming dry inside, then the manure will not prepare properly. Then in that case, you have to spray some water inside. So these are one or two things which we will learn depending on the situation and then improve upon.
Okay.
Cow dung, when it is bought, it has to be immediately used. We should not keep it stored. Because as you know, everybody knows that any organism cannot survive for more than 3-4 days, right? It will die. So therefore, as soon as it is obtained, it has to be fed with some food, which is in this case, it is sugarcane, with sugar or jaggery. We have to feed it and then we have to multiply. That's how we do.
Okay. And now last question. Can overuse of DIY manure harm plants or soil microbes?
Definitely not. It will not spoil the microbes, because anything in organic, there is no such thing called overdose or underdose. Because in chemical farming only they use these terms called the overdosing and all, because they are using chemicals. But in organic farming, there is no such use of chemicals. If you overdose, overuse the do-it-yourself manure, the plants, they will take as much they want, and the new plants also will be coming, right? So there are so many birds and animals which are visiting the farm. They will drop their seeds, and it will grow. In our balcony garden also, so many plants have come on its own. Birds are every day. So without our knowledge, these some new foreign plants also grow out of that manure which we prepare, because the manure contains so many ingredients. So we have no control over that. Nature will take care of it.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Narayanan. I think, okay. I don't see any more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to thank you for a detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And I also like to thank my editorial team for sharing the questions. We'll be ending this meeting now.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
giving the opportunity once again.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
all the time.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good evening.